Welcome to SportZnTouring. We're having the brand new Continental SportContact 7s on. These are a brand new tyre, an upgrade from the SportContact 6, and let's just say TyreReviews.com gave them an incredible review, saying that they are knocking the Michelin Pilot Sport 4Ss off of their top spot. And I'm back at my favourite tyre shop, Mr. Unique. So Tim, I hear you've got some Continental SportContact 7s for me.
I have.
There is a key.
No problem.
Now previously I had the SportContact 6s on the 370Z and the Michelin Pilot Sport 4Ss on the R8 GT Spyder. So once I get a chance to scrub these tyres in, I'll be able to tell you exactly what they're like. So now that we've got these tyres on, I'm going to hit the road and let you know what they're like. For days. It's a pretty narrow lane, so I'm not going too crazy on the corners because you got to be careful. You never know what's round the bend. So it's been a few days, and believe it or not, I have put 100 miles on these tyres already, and the weather hasn't been great, and there's a little bit of moisture on the road still, and frankly it's a bit cold, so I'm not going to be able to really push these tyres too much. But I can give you an impression because the first time I tested the SportContact 6s, it was a pretty cold day as well. So the first thing you notice about these tyres is they are much more comfortable than the old SportContact 6s. Some people would say that the old 6s were kind of like driving on wood. I wouldn't go so far as to say that, but they were definitely harsher than, say, the PS4Ss. But the trade-off with that is that I think the PS4Ss would turn in a way that was kind of a little bit kind of like slow to spite. I felt the 6s tended to be a little bit sharper on the initial turn-in, but I think they lost a little mid-corner on the Michelins. You felt a bit more confident mid-corner, as my son said when we were testing the Michelin PS4Ss on the Audi R8 GT Spyder. But if you're anything like me, comfort really isn't your primary concern. It's about how much fun you have when you're driving. So the question is, has the SportContact 7 kept that sharper turn-in and playfulness of the SportContact 6, but improved upon that mid-corner grip? Guess there's only one way to find out. They've still got that sense of bite. They feel responsive, and it's at these speeds that you do notice that it is that much more comfortable than the 6s. And they feel like the grip builds up mid-corner in a way that is more linear, whereas the PS4Ss is kind of, it's more progressive. Now, of course, these aren't the ideal conditions, but honestly, the feeling on these tyres is absolutely fantastic. I just feel like I've got so much confidence. And I'm not comparing this to how my 6s were when they came off, because the fronts were a bit worn, to be honest. Not only were the fronts a little bit worn, they were just older. So what do I think of the SportContact 7s now that I've had a little bit of time to have a play? Well, honestly, I love them. I think they're great. I think they're just a little bit more responsive than the PS4S. I think they have the mid-corner grip, at least equivalent to it, but with that extra bite on the turn-in. If you want a more comfortable tyre, I would definitely say you need to go for the PS4, because these are slightly harsher. Not as harsh as the 6s, but somewhere in between the SportContact 6 and the PS4 in terms of comfort. Personally, I'm not that bothered about comfort. Personally, I'm more interested in just how much fun you can have. And let me tell you, these tyres are fun.
Now, all of my comments up to this point, and those that follow, like pricing, etc., have just been generally about this tyre, but if you're here because you have a 370Z, I would say the SportContact 7 is about the best tyre you can get for it right now. And it means you don't have to compromise, because the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's don't come in the sizes for the fronts. So I know some people compromise by getting the 4S for the rear and the 4s for the front. Well, personally, I would never mix my tyres in that way, and now you don't have to, because the Continental SportContact 7 is a fantastic tyre. Of course, you do compromise only slightly on comfort, but it more than makes up for it with fun. Now, on to pricing and my final thoughts on the Continental SportContact 7.
The tyres aren't that much more expensive than the SportContact 6s. Maybe between 10 and 20 pounds a tyre, depending on what sizes you're going for. So they're in the same kind of ballpark price-wise. But believe me, those extra few pounds are worth it. The tyre does feel a lot better. Pretty much everything that was in need of improvement on the SportContact 6, they've addressed on this tyre, and a part of me prefers them to the Michelin PS4Ss, and I think it's mainly just because they're a bit more playful, a bit more, you know, sharp on the turn-in. Even at low speeds, it just feels like more race car. I don't know. But hey, look, I'm just an idiot with a YouTube channel. What would I know? Make sure you check out the tyrereviews.com video. I'll leave a link in the description. And of course, if you want to know what we thought of the PS4Ss, make sure you check out this video. And if you want to see what we thought of the SportContact 6s before this, check out this video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on Sports and Touring.